What's going on, folks? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Run and Gun Podcast. I'm Jay Peeps.
I'm Ace.
Tonight for you, we have a large display of things to discuss tonight. If you're just joining us, also too, we've already seen as you can see, it's going on behind me. We've already seen the Detroit Tigers get the basic get the sweep. God, I'm trying to find the right words. Get the sweep, and then also too, we've seen the Orioles get sent home by the Kansas City Royals, and then tonight we're going to see if the Mets can close it out as well too against the Milwaukee Brewers, and then also for the nightcap here, we're waiting on the Braves and the Padres. So still got two more baseball games left to go. I'm not sure what inning this one's in behind me, but we'll find out eventually. But
I'm about to go what? Oh for 4, I think, on all these picks.
I mean, honestly, you can't really say you would go 0 for 4 on all of them because, I mean, the Mets technically did win last night. It's tied up right now. If they can manage to climb back into it and win tonight, then you got one right. One is better than none. It's a start. But yeah, folks, we got everything for you tonight. We're going to talk about this homecoming trip up to Montgomery for FAMU. We're going to talk about how wide open that SWAC West is and why we can't seem to predict it, no matter how hard we try. Also, too, a trade destination for somebody coming up, and who the next coach should be for the Jacksonville Jaguars tonight as well, too. So, Ace, before we start, you got anything? You seem like you have something evil in your mind.
Oh, yes, I do. It is about a certain team proving so far what they were being a fluke first 2 weeks.
Wait, who?
No, I remember how I said they'd have to win X games or whatever to prove that they weren't frauds, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
still early though.
Hey, since I said it, they've gone, whatever. We've seen some demonic Satan powers working here. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback take out his wide receiver one. Knee literally explodes, and somehow they say it's not a torn ACL. I don't know how that's possible.
I did notice that. I did. Oh god.
What else?
It feels like forever. It feels like forever since we were last on here.
I know it does. What the hurricane kind of messed up, like our perspective of time.
I think it did. I really think it did. But it's all
also
good.
The hurricane messed up three of the Florida college teams. I mean, we saw FSU lose. Well, not surprised there. USF lost. UCF got embarrassed. We'll talk about that.
Yes, that's the one. But yeah, folks, as you know, don't go anywhere. Get comfy. It's going to be a good one. Intro's next. Let's do it. All right, wait. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash. This is Jimi Hendrix.
And you're listening to
the Run and Gun Podcast.
That reminds me, dude. I gotta tell you I gotta remind you some stuff after the podcast and stuff.
Why do I know none of that's gonna be good stuff? Well, I mean, it would be good stuff and not good stuff.
Oh, no, it'd be some good stuff, man. It'd be some good stuff. I got you. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, today, and I guess you actually got some tweets. I guess I can just roll out with them early. So today, of course, marks Wednesday. It's finally game week for the first time. I feel like first time in 2 weeks, but it feels like an eternity. So FAMU heads to Montgomery for a homecoming date with Alabama State. Recently, FAMU was 20th at one point, but then going into the game against Troy, you'd lose that one, you drop to 21, and then you have another bye week, and then you drop to 22. So now you're 22 going into Alabama State's homecoming. And so
does that make the matter much of a big deal?
Say again?
Isn't really much of a big deal though.
With the poll or the game?
The poll.
Right now, no. Honestly, to be real, I mean, they kind of I think penalized.
FAMU hasn't even started their conference play. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, my only complaint was I'm like, geez, you penalized FAMU for
not
a natural disaster. Like, you can't really predict that. It's hard to understand, but obviously though, it's fine. So here we go, right out the gate with a post that really intrigued me today earlier. And it was very spot on because if you saw the T20 QB Club meeting, it was very interesting how they just, my God, I'll tell you one thing. Those old heads, they know their football because they bombarded Colsey. And these were three questions or three statements that were said. Our defensive line has too many gaps. By the way, shout out to Lawrence for posting this because I heard this loud and clear too. Why couldn't we stop number 7 from Troy? You know that Alabama State likes to run the ball. So just to get everybody caught up, yes, I'm gonna start from 3 and work it up. So yes, Alabama State likes to run the ball. They just rushed for 308 yards total on Bethune-Cookman. Mind you, Bethune is a horrible team. They don't know their head from their ass. They probably will not win a game this year. They will likely, yes, come into the Florida Classic 0-10 and playing like they have nothing to lose, and will likely leave at 0-11. This will possibly be an 0-11 season from Bethune, and they will likely fire Raymond Woody afterwards. Now, on to this question. Yes, they like to run the football. Yes, FAMU needs to tackle better. I'm gonna let Ace interject now for that one.
Oh, yeah, on the tackling part, well, you had a whole 2 weeks to practice. You had the bye week, and then you had an extra bye week out of your control, but you got 2 weeks to figure out what you're doing on film, see how your tackling is bad, and just somehow, for the love of God, actually be able to tackle somebody because you're playing a team that likes to run the ball. If you don't hit them in the hole, they're going to be 20 yards behind you like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a good way to win.
Exactly. You're going to be in for a heck of a fight if that happens. Also, too, with the team that likes to run the ball, what do they like to do? Well, quite simply, if you saw Florida State play Georgia Tech and honestly Boston College, Alabama State likes to do things like that. Be physical, be nasty in the trenches, dominate the time of possession. I believe they had 34 minutes in terms of the time of possession, while Bethune had 25. So they dominated the time of possession. They kept Bethune on the sideline, did an excellent job of that. That's what they want to do. They want to turn it into a ground and pound type football game. And if you let them do that, they will, quite frankly, they will win. Hate to say it like that, but it is true.
Yeah.
Ask them the tough question. Yeah, that's what they did. They asked them the very tough questions. Now, the other question here was, why couldn't we stop number 7 from Troy? So just to catch everybody up, because I know everybody was dealing with a hurricane, hopefully everybody's safe and everybody came out of it okay. Devontae Ross had 11 receptions for 229 yards, 3 TDs, along with 98 yards. I know someone mentioned, why can't we just stick Kendall Bowler on him the whole game? I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure Ace would agree with me. There is no, not at least anymore, there is no Deion Sanders, there is no Darrell Green, there is no Charles Woodson in the SWAC. And Kendall Bowler although phenomenal player, heck of a player, good athlete, is not Deion Sanders. He's not Travis Hunter. He's not Darryl Green. He's not Charles Woodson. You can't do that. You just can't. Sorry to say. And then if you do that, they're going to just move him around. You're going to move him into the slot. And then you roller, follow him into the slot. You're vulnerable on the outside. You have to adjust.
Your whole team got to play better.
Exactly. That's just
it can't be just one man carrying a defense. That's never worked.
Exactly. Well, before the game evolved, it worked. But again,
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, I know. This is a different day and age. It just doesn't work that way. And you should have guys behind Kendall Bowler that can get the job done. You should.
Yeah.
And you do, give or take. You know, Devontae Ross is probably the second best wide receiver that you've seen this year, besides Xavier Restrepo, and you won't see another one the rest of the way.
You won't see anybody closer to Restrepo.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Now,
well, not any of them from Miami.
Bingo. Now, the first one here, our defensive line has too many gaps. So let's point that out. So Troy gained 212 yards of total, 212 yards from the line of scrimmage rushing, 15 carries by Damian Taylor, and got 109 yards, 1 TD out of it in that last game. Look, I'm telling you now, your tackling better be better this week. Give or take, you know, Troy was a ground and pound type team. You're going to face another ground and pound team this week. You're going to be tasked with having to stop the run. If you look at Zach Sims from Alabama State, he was 9 of 23 against Samford, which is atrocious for a passer. 9 of 23. Played Bethune. Bethune was just god-awful against the run. Couldn't even stop a runny nose. He was 8 of, 14, I believe. Didn't even have to really throw the ball. He only threw 1 touchdown. So, yes, what is going to be the objective and the key to victory for this week? Spoiler alert. Stop the run and make Alabama State one-dimensional. Now, Ace, is it possible?
I mean, how do I say this nicely? I don't want to go with the cliche, anything is possible, but they do have to play way better than what they did against Troy. And I think they will. I mean, there was a big talent difference between Troy and what FAMU has on defense, but you're going against A&M, they're going to like to run it. You know they're going to run it, which should help. It's not like they're going to try to play action you or whatever. So you could just pin it and you know it's coming. You should be able to stop it. But that's easier said than done sometimes, especially when you have a team that does not know how to tackle like they do.
Yeah. So honestly,
and their gap control is not the best.
And that's that was back to the first question that was on there. It was, you know, why does it seem like our defensive line is out of gaps? That's called gap integrity.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have gap integrity. You have to linebackers shoot the right gaps when playing. Now, one person I will commend is Nayron Jenkins, who's been playing. He's been playing good football, from getting thrusted into duty in the MEAC Challenge to still playing consistent ball, getting consistent amount of tackles. Had 8 tackles, I believe, and 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss against Troy. Played a heck of a game, honestly. I was very impressed with him, and he didn't start that Norfolk State game, earned his way back, has been a starter since. Leave him in. Heck of a player. I like what he's doing. But yeah, you got to tackle better this week. Everybody, all the way around. These running backs from Alabama State should not be falling forward for 5 yards a carry. They should not average 5.5 yards.
Well, hopefully it's a situation like how Indianapolis hit Pittsburgh, where like you know they're gonna run it early, you hit them really hard and knock them off balance. You
Mhm.
hit that first play. You hit them 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You say, we're meeting business today. It's not going to be no walk in the park. Set the tone early. That's how you got to do it.
He didn't even see the script, and he already knows one of the keys to victory for this weekend.
Mind reading powers.
And see that's you watching all them X-Men movies and taking after Charles Xavier. That's all that is. Also too, we saw the State Fair Classic this weekend because that was one of the top games that we picked. After multiple overtimes, Prairie View pulled it out. I know Ace took a stab in the dark with that one. Don't lie. I picked Grambling because I thought Grambling had turned a new leaf. I figured, you know what, they look the most consistent of anybody in the West.
I think I took Prairie View, right? I took Prairie View, right?
Yes, you did.
Not even a yay kind of clap. It's just okay. Let's just take the W and move on because all my other picks have been terrible, more or less, recently.
Wow. Look, I thought Grambling again. I thought they turned a new leaf. I figured, you know what, this team looks like the most consistent team in the West. Maybe they'll end up claiming the West. They may have a hiccup or two along the way. No, they realistically that game shouldn't have even gotten to overtime, if you ask me. And they let it slide. And that was my exact look. That was my exact look after the game. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Goodness gracious.
When he said Grambling turn over a new leaf. Yeah, sure. Okay.
But you know who you can't give that face to this week?
Who?
You can't give it to Alcorn. Because they beat a perennially horrible Mississippi Valley team, but give or take, they're good for another week.
It's not a big game. They're fine when they have to play bad teams. It's when they have the big game. They're basically the Saints. They should win the game, and they somehow find a way to lose it.
Yeah. Pretty spot on. So I guess you already answered this one. You know.
Yeah.
I guess we can kind of loop back around to this. So currently, Southern sits atop the SWAC West at 2-2, 1-0 in the conference. Right behind them is Alcorn, who's also 2-3, but 1-0 in the conference. And looking at the schedule, those two play in a couple weeks. Those two play in a couple weeks. So October 19th, Alcorn and Southern plays. It would probably likely be for sole possession of the SWAC West. Possibly. Who knows?
It doesn't matter. They're not winning the SWAC, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, I agree. I guess the discussion has already been had about Bethune too. We already talked about that. That is a train wreck. That team does not, again, for those of you that are just joining, that team does not know their head from their ass. It's a bad team. It's a team that has lost 2 close games in the last 2 weeks. And yes, that weighs heavily on a person's mind. So when you wonder where their mind is right now, you got to think like, geez, we're 0-5. We probably can't win a game. If you know what, let's go ahead and pull
snowball effect.
Say again?
They're in the snowball effect.
Yes, 100%. 100%. It's getting bad. That's all I can really say to describe it. Like, can you even try to?
They are what the Jaguars are about to be this week.
You know what? And that's what they get for playing their games in that stadium, or playing one game a year in that stadium.
They're getting Joe Flacco this week, I think. Well, they said Andrew Richardson might play. But Joe Flacco goes in. Yeah, we all know how that's gonna work, but we'll save that for a minute later. But then, man, they had the chance with Ed Reed. They screwed that up. Then they had the whole dorm situation where they got exposed for having like crap of every crap. So, are we really shocked that they're trash? No. Anyways, their best chance for a win is Mississippi Valley because they're just as bad. But otherwise, they're not winning any of these games, to be honest.
Oh no, I agree. I don't see them. I don't see a win against Alabama. And I definitely don't see winning on the road. So you can go ahead and cancel out all the road games. I don't see them winning in Huntsville. I don't see them winning in Baton Rouge. I don't see them winning one in Houston. Those are already losses. So is that 0-5, 0-6, 7-8. And all right, they're not beating FAMU. That's 0-8 right there. Jackson State 0-9. Grambling. If Grambling doesn't screw it up.
Grambling will win that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, 0-10. Yeah. Valley will be. Was that
That's
3
their best
o'clock
chance.
kickoff? Right. 3 o'clock. That'll probably literally be. Oh, good God. Good God, that'll be one for the Gipper.
Battle of trash. Basically, the Titans versus the Dolphins.
Yes, literally.
Football times on my TV.
I'm telling you now, whoever loses that game, their season's doomed.
They're both doomed no matter who wins that game. It don't matter. They're both cooked anyway.
Oh God. Oh God. It's sad because you're right. I'm just trying to find some
positives
light.
for them. Nah, they ain't got no positives. Only best chance for a positive. Let me shut up before I finish the statement. Brand was about to go somewhere.
It's so funny because like they hired Raymond Woody to dig this program out of darkness and of where it was, and it's still in darkness. And Florida State players who played for Willie Taggart when Raymond Woody was there tried to warn everybody of what was about to happen. Still didn't listen. Fell on deaf ears. Raymond Woody was the linebackers coach for a very, very bad football team.
Well, I mean, there's conversations that we're about to have about that name you mentioned just now and a couple other guys, but we'll get into that when we get to college football. But they screwed the pooch with Ed Reed, but that was some other stuff behind that situation. And then they thought Raymond was gonna that is not a one man can save you type situation. That's a top down. Everybody got to go reset it all. Mm-hmm. Basically, scorch earth it, restart from scratch.
Yep, get rid of it and recycle it. I'm telling you now. Ooh, when you do reset it, it's gonna still be a struggle. It's gonna still be a struggle because in this new age of college football, you got to think about like how do you sell this? How do you sell the environment?
Especially with NIL, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, Daytona is a nice place. It's a hot spot. There's a lot of booming businesses around there, but like, dude, how do you sell it?
There's a lot of old people there.
Old people, rednecks. That's about it, pretty much.
Just your typical run of the mill. You know what? Let me not finish that statement.
Typical run of the mill Florida town.
Pretty much basically every Florida town outside of Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando, and Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, and probably Tallahassee.
Fact. That is a fact.
Ooh.
Oh, look who
Mr. Man showed up. We could just transfer over to college football now and have this talk.
We can. I know he showed up here at the. He knew what he was doing.
Right time, right moment.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll start the petition to get Mike Norvell fired and Jordan Travis number retired. Also, Sky Quentin Flowers number retired too, or at least get in the Ring of Honor.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, honestly. So,
Calling it like you see it. No, I mean I could see that. Maybe
I'm
I
gonna
don't
start
know.
off here.
I don't know about firing Norvell though. I mean it's
Oh no, Norvell's got to be on the hot seat. I don't even think Norvell might make it to the end of the year if he keeps losing.
true. Yeah.
I'll
Because
say
you
this.
take everything Norvell did was because of Jordan Travis. When you look back on it, the man could not win without him.
True.
That is true. That is true.
That roster
I
was
think-
different. This roster is a lot different. So
And that's what happens
That's
with
his.
NIL. You got to think about what it goes back to what Nick Saban said about like with regard to what's wrong with Florida State and Florida. When Nick Saban went on College Game Day and said, you know, Florida State's been taking the quick fix approach to everything, like, you know, you can't you can't take the quick fix approach all the time. You got to know to develop these guys, or you got to know, like, because honestly, they, like Nick Saban said, they're in the portal for a reason, and that's the reality. I think every college program needs to realize. HBCU, you know, Power 5, Group of 5, Independence, all of it. These kids are in the portal for a reason.
And here's the funny one, right? Guess what is the reason why Alabama beat Georgia?
Oh yeah,
Well,
true
the
freshman.
transfer.
7th.
True freshman. You bring them in. Quarterback. Bring him in from the OG. You don't bring in a transfer. You bring him in as a freshman. Let him sit. Let him learn. Let him play. Let him figure it out. Grow a natural.
let nature take its course.
Exactly. You have to. And you saw with
It's
Alabama.
not like I was about to say, like, Ohio State's like one of the few ones right now where Walker Howard, but he still sat behind Jaden Daniels and he learned for a year too. It's not he just went out in the fire and learned. DJ's sat behind her, but wasn't even that good in Oregon State to begin with.
No.
It's true.
He was
And there's a
decent.
reason why he left.
Yeah, he was decent. It's just because I really thought I was like, you know what, like
I thought he
still
was
can't run the
decent.
ball,
I thought he was decent at Clemson for a little bit.
Dabo milked that like 12-win season out of him.
And that was the best he ever played, and now look at him now.
Like it's
Right.
freaking insane. Wow. Oh, no wonder that's what's wrong with him. He was born after the year 2000. Let me stop. That's messed up. I'm sorry, Ace. So looking at it, so his Oregon State numbers were basically he had 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That COVID year at Clemson, 5 TDs, 0 interceptions. 2021 at Clemson, 9 TDs, 10 interceptions. 2022, 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Statistically, that was his best season as far as completion percentage, and the yards weren't as up to par as 2023, but the TDs and the interceptions were identical. His interception percentage was down as well too. But yeah, so basically this is it for him. But also too, he's not playing this weekend. I've heard due to a finger injury from a source close to me. So it sounds like Brock Glenn will start.
That's not much better. They can't run the ball, and the receivers can't separate or catch a ball. So who knows?
This
Be the
is
same
so
stuff.
Better than DJ. I would rather take Brock over Glenn. I mean, Brock Glenn over DJ any day.
because my thing is
I'm sure a lot of people would feel the same way too.
no, dude, a lot of people do. A lot of people in Tallahassee.
They want to see it because they haven't seen him, but from what I saw last year, Brock Glenn is not good either.
I really don't think
The
he's
problem with Florida State is you lost all your guys to the draft or whatever last year. Got embarrassed by Ford. Got embarrassed by Georgia, and Florida State's like, all right, let's go give you a contract, nice big fat contract extension, and just bring in a bunch of guys from the transfer portal and just see if it sticks. And nope, shit hit the fan instead.
Because remember, they offered him that because they didn't want him to go to Alabama. Because Alabama was after Mike Norvell too. Because it was on the heels of Saban.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because remember that because like it was on the heels of Nick Saban retiring, and Alabama was like looking around like, okay, who are we gonna get? Everybody was saying, go.
Safe to say, Alabama made the right decision.
Yeah.
Who's the coach at Oregon right now? Oh my god.
Dan Lanning.
Because
Yeah,
what
it-
didn't
Dan Lanning.
Kalen? Is it Kalen?
Kalen
DeBoer.
DeBoer.
Kalen Moore?
Because
Isn't he from Washington? Didn't he
Yes.
have that like?
yes,
Yeah.
because like those are like the top three names I had been hearing. Was the main one was Dan Lanning, bring him down to Tuscaloosa. Mike Norvell was another name because of his growing success. Because people forget 2022 was just as nice, and then 2023.
Yeah, but remember
happened.
before 2022 started, right? We had Allison on the show, and we asked if Mike Norvell was on the hot seat because remember Jordan Travis was hurt, and
Mhm.
FSU looked just as bad as it was right now.
Yeah,
And then Jordan Travis came out and he played like a first round pick, and then he got hurt.
yeah, no, that's true. I do remember when Florida State had Mackenzie Milton, and I don't even think he even finished the year.
He was terrible too, but he
Yeah.
was terrible since his knee exploded.
Yeah, no, honestly, I
That's
feel
not
like
his, that's not really his fault, but
yeah,
you know what I
no,
mean.
Yeah, if he hadn't gotten hurt, I feel like he'd be in the NFL right now. I really do. But yeah, I think they let him finish the year out this year. Now next year, if Florida State struggles, and oh god, you know they got Florida they got to go to Gainesville. They got Alabama coming to Tallahassee. On top of Miami, we don't know what Miami will look like. And you got to go to Clemson. That's 4 tough games right there. On top of your ACC
I'm curious to see
schedule.
what Miami does after Cam Ward, because Cam Ward was down to FSU and Miami, and he chose Miami over FSU. But it's not just the quarterback position is Florida State's issue. It's the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, the defense. The whole team has issues.
Everything. It's even like, aside from like team issues, it's even just the fact that, I think FSU just doesn't want to be a part of the ACC anymore too, because it feels like last year they just
Had a
felt
foot
like
out
they
the
got-
door.
yeah, they got.
They need to act like they want to be part of the ACC because the way they look, no other conference would take them.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
they sure enough wouldn't last in the SEC.
They would not survive. They would not survive if they went to the SEC. They would not.
This is just this isn't like the final product, but this is just like, well, there's a few dates listed there. So this
Florida
is just
State's
like
next year.
this is so the first 4 games are listed out. Like Labor Day weekend, they host Alabama, and then the week after they play Texas A&M Commerce. Then they play Kent State, and then September 20th, and then of course Thanksgiving weekend they go to Gainesville, and then of course Clemson and Miami, and a pretty what will be
Mike Norvell's not surviving that. I don't even think he survives to midway through the season.
Yeah, because these games will be spread out like this. Like that Clemson game will either be in October or November. Miami will likely be in October.
Yeah, he wouldn't make it to the end of the year.
I'd say good luck to any coach next year trying to play against that schedule. That's an insane.
Now Florida State is heading to a reset. They gotta get new guys in.
Yeah, no, they do. They need to get someone that's just as good with NIL and knows how to evaluate the proper talent in the transfer
develop
portal.
them too.
And
Because there's a reason those guys are in the transfer portal, but also the reason why some of them make it out of the transfer portal and make success with another team is they get developed properly.
Because that was Florida State's MO last year. Keon Coleman developed well. Who else?
Trey Benson.
Well, Keon Coleman was a dog too in Michigan State. It wasn't like he was a bum.
True, exactly.
He just
he
left
developed properly.
No, he was good in Michigan State. It's just Michigan State just got terrible once Jaden Reed left and Kenneth Walker left, and they just like, all right, I'm out of here.
Fair.
Keon Coleman, Trey Benson.
Trey Benson was injured coming out of Oregon.
Yeah. What's his name? Jaheim Bell from South Carolina was nice.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't recruit up to that talent level this past year. And yeah, looking at
They
the
got their
schedule.
number one wide receiver, Wayne McCoy. What is this, the 1980s?
Oh God.
Tell me if he's caught in a single like deep route. I have no idea.
Anyway, so moving on to the other game, Miami looks to avoid their first upset of the season.
they should have lost that game.
That was wild.
They
I saw the
should've.
highlight video of that, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
They should have.
They
Yeah.
should have lost that game.
Now they go out west to play a regular season game for the first time since 2000, and they're going to play Cal. Now, does anybody know? And I guess I'll type it in. When was the last time Miami? What happened the last time Miami played a team out west, or went out west to play the team?
When? Like what year?
Give me a year.
I'm gonna
Okay,
guess.
you know what?
I'm gonna guess. Let's just go with 98. I don't know. I'm feeling 1998.
Nah, I think gone out west recently, haven't they?
Hold on, here we go.
I don't know what the Brad Kaya team or whatever his name was.
On the West Coast,
How would I know? I'd assume it's the Kaya. The Kaya teams didn't really lose, though.
I'm gonna
you know,
guess.
to be fair, Ace is
1988.
exempt. He wasn't. Ace is exempt. He wasn't born. This is
Oh
gonna be-
shit! Okay, never mind. This has been a while. Holy crap! Okay, never mind. Whatever.
So year. Wait. When I was
Got
born?
him in the '90s, right?
It was not
96.
in the 90s.
2002,
It was before.
'80s.
It was in the 2000s, but it was before 2002.
Oh,
Yeah, 2
one
years
or the 2000 team.
Yes, 2000 team. It was. They went out west. They played Washington in the opener of that season, and they lost. And eventually, that game would end up penalizing Miami from playing in the 2000 national title game in the Orange Bowl, and that's how Florida State got the bid over them. Florida State played Oklahoma, only got 2 points against Oklahoma, lost when it should have been Miami versus Oklahoma for the title that year.
Damn.
And Miami essentially should have gone back to back.
That's crazy.
So the thing is there's a lot of demons now creeping up. Miami goes out west. Miami's gone out west to play Cal before, and they've lost. Miami's gone out west recently and
The
lost.
Cal really isn't that great,
I was
though.
about to say, because Cal's not that good.
Now, okay, Cal's not that good, but you need to also remember too, this is essentially,
Just college football, anything can happen. We know.
and I'm going to bring this up
That
now.
indeed.
This is essentially Pac-12 after dark, because this is like a 10:30 kickoff.
7:30.
UCLA was on bye week too.
7:30 Western time, right?
Yes, but it'll be 10:30 our time.
Oh wait, I'm looking at
Ugh.
UCLA, not Cal Bears. I'm an idiot.
Ugh. Who wants to? I'm sorry, I don't care, but like, who wants to play any sport that late?
Well, I mean, out west, it's technically.
I know, but even out west, though, I mean, like, it's like that whole like debate about like, you know, what time zone is the best time to watch sports? They say it's better
Eastern
to
time.
watch it. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Eastern
considering they do everything based on the Eastern time zone, because they're always like,
Oh yeah, Western time technically is the best.
or Western, because you know you could wake up at 9, 10 a.m. and then feel like, oh wait, football is gonna kick
You got
off in
football
an
all day.
hour. And you got football all morning and all day.
Cal
when
beat
the
San
game's
Diego
over-
State, lost to FSU. They've only played 2 games this year. Holy crap. No, they
yes.
can't have only played 2 games. They beat UC Davis and Auburn as well.
Yeah, they did. They did beat Auburn. That's right.
Now,
Auburn
that's
did.
not saying much, though, because Auburn, we should have a conversation about that. That was embarrassing what they did this last weekend. But, I mean, they got what?
They had
Who did Auburn
terrible
play?
team, but it's not a
Like-
great team.
They had
Who did
like
Auburn play?
They're going to run the ball a lot.
It was like 2 or 3 minutes left. They had a lead and they threw a pick six. I think the game's past Hugh Freeze by. I think it's safe to say that. because
Now, for Miami to avoid the Pac-12 after dark game, woo, that's gonna be fun. But Miami didn't play their best football against Virginia Tech, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they respond from that, especially on the defensive side. But they should be able to handle this game. But
they should.
crazy things happen.
Yeah.
They just got to keep locked in and not say this is another easy win kind of thing.
Now the other one too is, and I know. Let's see. Would we like to talk about
We
Colorado?
just mentioned Hugh Freeze. We just mentioned the Hugh Freeze. Let's talk about the other Auburn head coach that's now in UCF. Got beat up in the bounce house.
Oh, there we go. Yep, I'm glad you said it.
All right.
I don't want to hear anything else from another UCF fan about them being the best team in Florida.
No, it's Miami. No ifs, ands, or buts. But UCF is probably the second best team.
Miami.
Now, and then the funny thing was, Deion went in there during his press conference and said, "Oh wow, you know what? The bounce house sold out." Because I was driving to Daytona this past weekend for my own reasons, and I see every billboard on I-4 saying UCF Colorado sold out. And Deion is sitting there in his post-game presser saying, "Wow, I wonder why they sold out." This man literally had all the recruits getting tickets for your home game, and then you went out there and blew it in front of said recruits and made Deion look like a genius. And now we're having this discussion of how good is Colorado.
Now, I will say that was before I get into this whole question here, let me say this. USF should have gave that man the bag.
Wait. I'm glad you said that. Hold on, because now I'm about to backtrack.
No, we're gonna stay on this topic first before I get to USF. Don't worry, we'll get to USF in a minute with Goal. I have some more to say about that man, but we'll get to him in a minute. Now let me continue here. I should say USF should have given Deion the bag because they need it, but also Deion's ability to recruit and get the best of what he got is kind of crazy how he does it. But he was on Club Shay Shay this week talking. I don't know if y'all watched that whole thing. That was hilarious.
Talking about how he was groaning and stuff.
All right, back to the topics of hand. Yeah. So broke me again, damn it. All right, anyways. Yeah, Deion talking about that. Talking about Trav, talking about Shadur, the whole team, right? Well, Colorado kind of figured out how to run the football, so they're doing better than we thought they would. The bowl game is not out of the picture. I will say we were wrong on that. That's on us. We eat the crow on that. But now UCF choked that shit so hard, man. I don't know what the hell they was doing. Colorado came in your own house and punched you in the mouth, and you couldn't respond the whole way. Now, I will say, though, Shadur is a quarterback right now where if he doesn't have pressure on him, he will dice you up.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Which is why I still think he will have success in the NFL if he goes to a good franchise. If he goes to a terrible team, he's going to be cooked. But UCF did not get pressure at all on him, and he just sat back and he picked them apart like nothing. Because he got the time and he wasn't getting his body torn up every other snap like how he did against Nebraska.
Yeah, which I was.
That's on Gus Malzahn's defense scheme.
I was very shocked by that, actually. I was surprised Gus didn't bring the house.
Exactly. That's why I say UCF choked that one bad. Now, to the other point on Colorado, it's like the defense kind of limited what UCF did on the ground. I'll pull up the exact stuff before I continue this. I should have had this up before I started my whole nice little soliloquy here on this whole thing, but, I kind of just go with the flow of it. Yeah, so Colorado only had about 100 100 or so yards, give or take. They had 39 from Augustine. Hayden had 33, whatnot. They weren't like gashing them in the run game, while UCF had 150 so rushing yards, but the secondary was pretty much on clamps, which is what you need. And I mean, you let Travis Hunter literally dog walk you. That's pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
And
right here.
if you're UCF, you're like, well, you ran the ball, which Colorado's not very good at doing, stopping. And then you start throwing it to hit Travis Hunter, and you're going to be like, that's a great way to win the game. But when you get down 49, a bunch of points, you'll be like, yes, they were down. Give me a second. They were down 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then 27-14 at the end of the half. So can't really run the ball, but that's also on your offense for not sustaining drives early on with the run game to keep shitter off the field. All right, so quiz over.
Yeah, no, honestly, this to me, this was one of their toughest tests. It was one of them, but now, I mean, they go out of one and into another now. Like, you know, they got K-State, they got a bye week, and now they got K-State next, and then after that, they play a team that's currently 3-1 in Arizona. So the way I look at it right now is like, look, dude, they got K-State October 12th, Arizona October 19th, Texas Tech November 9th, and then Utah November 16th. You get by those four, that's 8 wins right there, on top of the fact that this team right now, I think, is better than Cincinnati. That's 9 wins. You're looking at the possibility of Colorado being 9-1.
They can sneak in at number 12.
Yeah, they could. Because right now, I could see there's a possibility if they keep playing a high level of ball, playing fast, physical, and nasty like this, you're looking at a 9-win team by the time they go. Well, you're looking at a 9-win team by the time they get to Kansas, who is also currently 1-4.
I will say though, this might be more of a blessing in disguise than anything for UCF, because now the team's gonna be motivated and they're gonna beat the living crap out of the Gators.
Yes, now that's the other one you shift your attention to, is the game that's going to take place in Gainesville this weekend. UCF is currently favored by 2.5. Look, if you're Billy Napier, dude, don't, for the love of Christ, do not let UCF go in there and dog walk you. You better learn something.
UCF is going to be pissed, though.
Oh, 100%. 100%. RJ Harvey, that's who you need to stop in the ground game, because take it from someone that's seen UCF play, like the same UCF team a year ago play. When they're in a groove, they're fast and they're dangerous. Very. So Florida you better buckle down, man. You know, I mean, yeah, you got the win against Mississippi State, which Mississippi State's a horrible team anyway. But dude, this is a different monster what you're about to see now. And they're pissed off because they lost. Ooh. And then not to mention, if you lose to UCF, it's going to be the talk of, oh, Colorado's better than Florida.
And I mean, they are better than Florida anyway.
But yeah, no, they are. They are.
So, I mean, that's kind of a pointless topic of conversation, because we all know Florida's not very good.
We know. Oh yeah, we know. But yeah, no. Tell me before we go over to this Georgia Alabama game. Tell me about why USF did in fact fumble the bag. And all
right, go with this whole offensive game plan is just not practical. This whole 90 play thing, every play 3 plays a minute kind of thing, that's just not going to work. And college football, with the athletes they have and the conditionings levels of these kids, it won't last. When you go 3 and out on your first drive, that just means you're going to be cooked the rest of the game.
Yep. And we see why Jimmy Horn got up out of there.
And Xavier Weaver.
Yep. And
And
Brian Miller.
their offensive line got decimated versus Miami, so I won't say it's like, I won't just say they're terrible or whatnot. But Goalish, that's his issue is run them down, the bodies start breaking down, and then you end up with a lot of injuries. Your offensive line is hurt, your quarterback's hurt, your running backs are beaten up. It's just not practical of a system to run with. Yeah. And guys keep talking about Goalish does this, Goalish. He's just like more of a fancier Jeff Scott at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Beats up on the bad teams. He has 0 signature wins.
This is true. And this is why I say, this is why I tried to tell Ace, I tried to tell Flash this. It's like, dude, like, he's like, he'll win, he'll compete, Alex Goalish will compete in the games that like he's supposed to compete in, and he'll make it look good. So like, Alabama, Miami competes for a quarter.
Hasn't finished any of them.
Has not finished single one. And then it's like the long plays that
the mid teams, the good teams, and the bad teams, and the great teams.
Yes. Like that game against Tulane, that's a game you're supposed to win if you're as good as you say you are. The game against Southern Miss, that was the game you were supposed to win. Now, this game against Memphis is coming down here on Friday night next week.
Starting for USF. They're on bye week this week, but I don't know Byron Brown will be back by then. And Bryce Archie sucks. So Izzy Carter, you're up, hopefully, but
it's gonna be rough.
They're not smart enough to do that.
And not to mention, by the way, shout out to the service academies, because I'm hoping that both Army and Navy meet undefeated, and I'm hoping that they both get into this 12-team playoff. They run into Navy November 9th, who likely will be undefeated. They are not beating them.
They beat them last year. I don't know if they're beating them this year at this rate.
They're not. Navy runs that time of possession type offense where, they want to run it down your throat with like that run and shoot type
and Golish's 3-and-out type offense will bite that defense in the ass. Because the defense will get tired once the offense goes 3-and-out in 1 minute.
And again,
and they're back out there to get run down the throat again.
And what does a team like Army and Navy like to do?
Run it right down your throat. Nice long drives. USF 1 minute, run it right back down your throat. Another 5-10 minute drive, and you're exhausted.
Wait, I'm curious.
Go ahead.
I'm curious though. Out of all the meets between Army and Navy, who has won the most games in the last years? Like a couple of years, I'd say.
Who has won the most games? Let's see.
In those meetups, I'm curious.
So, okay, here we go. Between Army and Navy, the Naval Academy actually
62-55 Navy.
Yep, here it is.
Navy.
7 ties. I don't even know how you have a tie, but I guess that's probably before they had the new overtime rules or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, way before. The current streak is Army has won the last 2. I don't know. Well, y'all can see that, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
So looking at the full games list here, if we go all the way back to 1965, that was the last time these two tied. 7-7. And then so they tied one time during. I'm guessing they tied one time during Vietnam, one time I'm assuming during the Korean War, and they tied back
in the end of World War II.
Yeah. Which honestly, if you go back and look at this history right here, like this is the time when both
Navy was non-existent during World War II.
Oh, I mean, look. Well, to be fair,
they were fighting a different battle, but they were.
Oh, yeah. Navy was winning it, and Army was non-existent until the end. Once they went to Germany and they started kicking them.
Yeah, like let's be real. We know why Army was so much better than Navy at that point. They were literally out there fighting.
I can tell you.
Like,
Navy started losing once they ended up sending all the troops to the Pacific, and Army started winning then.
exactly.
Army had nobody in it because they were too busy setting up everything.
Now, let's go to Wikipedia here on my
Why are we
other
doing
tab.
all this? I have no idea, but this is just a fun conversation to have right now.
So I'm actually, because I'm trying to see something real quick. So the Vietnam War lasted from 1955 to 1975. Let's look at how this series went from 1955 to 75. 55. The Navy.
Navy had
academy
more
down-
wins. Interesting.
Jeez, I wonder what the Army was up doing back then.
Right? Like, so I guess we can kind of say, depending on conflict, who dominates.
What type of
the game.
conflict?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now, honestly, there's no that
I mean,
we know
if
of.
you take out the Vietnam War, Army's winning it this series.
Yeah, which is crazy enough to believe.
Well, I guess, yeah.
If you take out Vietnam, Army's winning this series. Now,
Oh wait, no, they had a
two-
good stretch here because of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars too.
yeah, wait, so when Desert Storm kicks off, Desert Storm happens in 90. Let me actually Google that too. We're kind of
No,
mixing.
look at it. What do we? Right after 01, right after 9/11, Navy runs it for another 14, 15 years.
Here we go.
Damn.
Desert Storm, August 2nd, 1990 to February 28th, 1991. So, who wins the 1990 and 19? It's actually back and forth.
A little back
Army
and
wins
forth.
1990. Navy wins the next year.
The Desert Storm was big, but not like really big. You'll get it right after 9/11 when they go into Afghanistan and Iraq. Bang,
Yeah.
Navy runs it.
Yeah, literally. That's because you know what's funny about it? I remember seeing this streak happen on live TV right before me. Because every year, and for certain reasons, we were going to a Christmas party, me and Mr. Sasser. I think it was for that 2014 game.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember, but we went to a Christmas party. I was watching that game before we went, and like everybody was like, "This is the year that Army's gonna win," and Army didn't win. But yeah, dude, I'm like.
I mean, you look at these games. These games aren't even close, too. The closest one is 2011 or 2010 with 2011. Yeah, 27-21. That's the closest game, really.
Yeah.
And then 2015 when it was 21-17 when they finally started getting guys back.
Yeah. A lot of those kids weren't getting shipped off or anything. That's the crazy thing. Like, Ace, I'm glad you said that. That's actually pretty spot on. Whenever there was a conflict, depending on who was the busiest or who had the most,
that's who the other team runs it.
Yeah, like you know what? We need to go back and see something. I need to see something here. I need to go back. Okay, so the series started in 1890. Okay. Okay.
I didn't know football was around back in the 1800s, but okay. World War I, actually, surprisingly, I don't know what the hell the Navy was doing during World War I, but the Army was running it still.
Okay, so World War I, depending on the dates, is July 28th, 1914 to November 11th, 1918, but the United States didn't get involved till late in that one. But let's go from 1914 to 1918. They didn't even play in 1918 or 1917.
Oh, the Navy was dealing with U-boats in the Atlantic and Mediterranean during World War I. That's why they were busy.
Dude, that's crazy. That is crazy. How this
and
is.
Then, wait, go back down. This is the last thing before we move on. Look at it after World War I ended between 22 to 33. The Army ran that thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they did.
Navy was non-existent back then. Don't know what the Navy was doing, but they were busy.
They were gearing up for war. Well, also this
Nah,
is
they
during the
weren't.
Great Depression too.
Yeah. Don't know what the
Yeah.
Navy was doing during the Depression.
Uh,
No, the
the
Depression
Navy-
started in like 29 though. That was the booming 20, the roaring 20s or whatever the hell it's called.
Also too, it wasn't. I don't think at that time too, in culture at the time. Just guessing. I don't think it was that popular to be a sailor yet. Because around
That's
World
true.
War II is when it becomes popular to be a sailor.
Yeah, after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Well, even leading up to it and stuff like and
Yeah.
things like that. This is back when This is back when people like they actually applied to the academy and prayed to God that they actually got in.
Yeah, everybody was in on the Army train, not the Navy train.
Yeah. All right.
All right, cool. Moving
Excellent
on.
history lesson, guys.
Good job, guys.
Great,
I
yeah,
don't know how
history
much more
lesson.
podcast.
Excellent history lesson. Man,
That went into a very deep rabbit hole of history right there.
that really did. And an Ace, I was very proud. You brought up a great point about like different
Depending
conflicts.
which one was busier,
different
the other one.
Yeah, like that was excellent. Like, geez, I would never even thought of that. But
All right,
yeah.
moving on to the NFL now. That was a great history lesson, guys.
Oh, wait,
Actually,
wait,
no, we have to
wait,
talk
you
about what
forgot.
college football games before next.
You
Oh yeah, we
forgot.
need to talk about this one. All right.
We will.
Very
SEC
likely.
championship happening. It will happen.
Yeah.
I still
Now,
feel like
Georgia-
I don't know, but with Ole Miss and Texas, I mean, I don't know. I don't
Ole
think
Miss
those
ain't
two
doing
teams-
that. Ole Miss already lost this week.
Yeah, I was like
Was it Oregon they lost to?
Kentucky.
They lost to Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a
Kentucky's
field-
not a bad team now.
Yeah, they look nice and decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually put up a good battle. I mean, that Georgia Kentucky game, they put up
Kentucky
a good
will
battle.
dog walk Florida when they play.
Oh,
I hope
dude,
so.
everybody probably except Florida State will dog walk Florida. But yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at Ole Miss's schedule and what they have left, like you play South Carolina this week. You play LSU, who's also 4-1. You got Oklahoma,
Arkansas should have beat Texas A&M. I don't know how they
Yeah.
lost that game.
Honestly, yeah, I can see Ole Miss probably taking a couple licks here and there. They're not beating Georgia. Ole Miss may not beat LSU.
I don't think Ole
but
Miss
they'll have
makes
a
the
couple
SEC
wins.
championship.
Do they play Tennessee? I don't think they play Tennessee.
Ole Miss does not play Tennessee this year.
It's interesting.
Ducking that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, likelihood of Alabama Georgia playing each other, very likely game of the year was that recent one. Jalen Milroe most likely winning the Heisman after that game. The Jalen Milroe that we are seeing this year is so much better than the one we got last year. I will say that. But that goes back to the point of developing internally.
Yep.
Kalen DeBoer, new head coach, comes into Alabama, doesn't ship him out, keeps him in there, lets him grow. Works the same magic he did with Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama looks way better. Now, I'll say, though, that boy Ryan Williams, I said it after USF played out, and I'll say it now. That boy nice.
Yeah.
It is going to be very interesting in 2027 when Jalen Smith? No, that's not his name. Jeremiah Smith in Ohio State and Ryan Williams from Alabama go up for the draft. That will be a very interesting conversation, and it will probably end up like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors, where both are really good in the NFL, but Marvin will probably have the hype coming out, even though the other one's more fundamentally and way more, how do I say this? Not talent-wise better, but more explosive.
Yes.
Because Ryan Williams, when you watch him, right, he kind of reminds you of almost like Deshaun Jackson in a sense, if you know what I mean. While when you watch Jeremiah Smith, you see young Julio.
I see
Yes.
that.
I actually, what's crazy? I see a blend of Devontae Smith and Julio when I look at
And
Ryan
which
Williams.
one?
I like the crispness, I don't want to say the crispiness, and it sounds like a chicken tender.
Wait, for Ryan Williams or for Jeremiah?
Ryan Williams.
Oh, Ryan Williams, I said he looked like Deshaun Jackson, but like really
Oh.
young. You know when Deshaun came out, how he looked?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think of. That early Eagles days, Deshaun.
That's a fair assessment.
Well, now that you say Devontae and Julio, I don't see the Julio because he's not very physical going off the ball like how Julio was, but he real shifty and fast. That's what I said.
Yeah.
D-Jax.
But I definitely can see SEC championship. These two meet, and then possibly again in the playoff. These two meet. I think, but if you're Georgia, like you got to win the second matchup. And
Carson Beck need to
chaos.
get his head out of behind.
He did in the second half.
He did, but everybody knew on the moment that man was going to throw a pick at the end of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it was so much pressure. Like, and plus, you got to look at it too. His rushing attack did him no favors either. 80 rushing yards for Georgia on the night. Wow, they passed for 439 yards. On the other side, Alabama, 374 yards through the air, 173 on the ground.
How much
And
did
10
Milrow
penalties
have
for
of
90
that?
yards. Say again?
How many of that did Milrow have, though?
How many of that passing?
No,
Or
rushing.
So looking at it in the box score, Jalen Milrow had 117 of it. The rest of these,
Yeah.
the next
I don't know.
leading
That
rusher was-
Alabama rush game outside of Milrow just doesn't move me very well. Their running backs aren't very good.
the next best leading rusher was Justice Haynes, who had 6 carries for 35 yards.
Yeah, that's not really cutting it. Well, I mean, that's what, over 5 yards a carry, but still. They're not giving him much volume to work with. That's more of a scat, like change of pace. It's like Milrow's quarterback 1, RB1, and then Haynes is the change of pace type of guy.
And not to mention, Alabama also had 10 penalties for 90 yards.
They got to clean that up, though. They were very penalized when they played USF, too. I know that's a common theme with them. They need to stop grabbing. And the corners for Alabama have a tendency to get beat deep. They sit on routes a lot. I don't know who's coaching that, but they need to get that out of them.
Yeah. No, and that's why I think Kirby kind of may go back to the drawing board, do a little film study, and pick apart the weaknesses that are presented within Alabama. But if you're the main thing though too is if you are Georgia, you gotta make an example out of Auburn this weekend, make an example out of Mississippi State, and then
they can do that. Most of them suck.
They got a big one against Texas on the 19th.
Now I will say though, we didn't talk about it, but Texas got a very delicate situation going on right now. And if you ask me, that situation is more in the air than the whole Tua Jalen Hurts situation was at the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Arch isn't a freshman, he's a sophomore. He's already had the year to sit and learn, while Tua was a true freshman the year he came in for Hurts, and then he took over as a sophomore. But with Arch and Quinn, right? Quinn has played fine, so he really shouldn't lose a job. But when you watch Arch play, it's just like a different dynamic with his legs that he can bring to that team.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it harder to stop compared to Quinn.
Yeah. You know, they say talent skips a generation.
But you know what's the funny part? His dad, Cooper, was the more talented of the three. Because remember, he was a wide receiver before he got hurt.
Yeah. He was actually a wide receiver. He was that. I say it like this. I don't know. Y'all didn't really watch Ed McCaffrey. What Ed McCaffrey was, like, Cooper Manning was supposed to be that. Like, he was that prototypical white guy, wide receiver that you could rely on and stuff. And then he got hurt.
Funny, but when there's 3 siblings, for some reason, the younger one is always the most talented of them all.
But Cooper was the oldest.
Yeah.
Cooper's the oldest?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. Well, then Eli had the most success out of them all, so my point still stands.
Oh yeah. Now Eli had the most success, but yeah, Cooper was the oldest. He was the more, realistically speaking, the most athletically gifted. He took the speed because his dad was a scrambler. Not well, Archie was a scrambler, and then obviously like it goes straight to Cooper, but because the other
I
two
don't know
just
what
can't
was
run,
Peyton and Eli were doing. They just can't move.
became pure pocket passers.
Yeah, they had.
Pure.
Well, I can't say that Eli did move around a little bit though. Eli could get out in trouble if he had to. He wasn't
Yeah.
just like standing there.
They both
I've
have
seen
cannons
Eli.
of an arm, and that's just like the genes of the Mannings, I guess. It's just being passed down.
Yeah, Cooper took the legs of it, while Eli and Payne took an arm each.
Yeah.
It's crazy to believe. I've seen with my own eyes.
Archie's like a
Eli
blend of both.
touchdown. I've physically seen Eli scramble for a touchdown before, which is, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
if you've ever seen a Manning run for a touchdown, golly, like they are
That's
Peyton.
a rare
They're
sight.
goofy. Peyton and Eli are goofy when they run. That's what I'll say.
yeah.
But
But I will say
Yeah.
though, yeah, with Texas, they got to figure out how they're going to handle that. I don't know if it's kind of like a 2-quarterback system they're going to run when Quinn Ewers comes back healthy, or what they're going to do. Because I don't think you could sit him, but you can't exactly bench Arch.
oh, not at all. And right now he's your leading passer too. 900 yards, 900 yards, 9 TDs, 2 interceptions.
But Quinn played what, 1 game and then he got hurt?
That's not bad. I mean, and they're 4-0, 5-0.
Yeah, I think Quinn played
5-0.
1 game, he got hurt,
4-0,
and
5-0.
Arch got the next 3.
And guess what's next week?
Oklahoma, they're going to belt ass. Who we fooling?
Now the thing now here's the thing, they should belt to ass, but we know in years past there have been times when Texas had the better team and Texas came out there and they blew it.
And they won't do it. They won't do that.
They better not.
I think they showed up. I think last year. I don't know if that game was at Texas or at Oklahoma, but I
It's
remember.
in-
I think Texas
Dallas.
showed up. I think Texas
This is
showed
a neutral.
up. Oh,
He has a neutral site. It's in the Cotton Bowl every year.
Mm.
But
All right,
Yeah,
run
no,
these
I-
games of college football real quick before we move on to the NFL.
oh yes, that's right. Oh my goodness, I completely.
We're just
Oh.
dragging this.
We are. Well, I mean, we had a whole history lesson right there, which
I know that's like so rare.
It is.
You guys won't see
You're
a sports.
welcome.
podcast
I'll
I
bring
don't
I'll bring the weird quirks of this podcast.
like
think.
you don't see that every day. All right,
Don't
there
ask
it
the
is.
question. I'm like, oh wait a minute.
So that's our week 6 slate. You got.
I want to take
SMU and
Arkansas, but they'll
Louisville.
figure out how to choke that. Oh, that's SMU, not Arkansas. No, Arkansas
Oddly
down on the
enough-
right. I'm stupid.
Oddly
That's
enough,
SMU
I want to
right
take
there.
SMU for some reason, but I kind of want to take SMU for some reason. I don't know why. I think just after that FSU debacle and SMU putting up so many points.
So I guess you're a believer in the Pony Express there.
All right, Dawn's taking SMU. I'll take Louisville.
Yeah, I'm taking Louisville as well. Louisville's got a.
I'm gonna mess around and take Missouri.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Missouri too.
Ooh. Missouri going into College Station and getting a dub. Okay.
We all agree on the next game, right? FAMU.
Yeah, FAMU's going in there to spoil the homecoming.
Yep.
We'll
Maybe
give
sh-
the numbers details later. Score prediction later.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss should
and
handle the Gamecocks.
Ole Miss.
They better.
Yeah, it's got to be Ole Miss.
They better. Because if they don't, ooh.
The next one, we all know who's winning that. We ain't got to talk about that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And the next one too.
Yep. And the next one too.
And the next one. And
Oh,
then-
we're all
ooh,
going to UCF for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Ooh,
That's fair.
the championship of
Rematch.
last year.
Bro,
Ooh.
I don't think Washington is good.
I
They're
mean,
not.
honestly, both teams don't look that good.
Washington lost to the Rutgers.
But honestly,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Michigan.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm going this
Washington's
weekend.
kind of terrible.
And the next one is a no-brainer.
But we know Mr. Tennessee right here is going with his Biles.
Yeah. The big
Yeah, Vols and Hurricanes.
old-
Michigan, Vols,
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes. No, I will say though, Michigan's quarterbacks suck, but they have too many good running backs to not win.
Here's my thing though. What year is Jalen Milroe in right now? Is he in his junior?
Senior year.
Senior?
Third year.
Yeah, he's draft eligible. That's all I know.
What do you
Yeah,
think
he's
would be the
definitely-
likelihood? What do you think the likelihood with the whole you're saying with like the whole Texas thing with like Arch Manning? What do you think the whole like what do you think could happen if Arch enters the portal and he goes to somewhere like maybe
Ooh.
Tennessee or Georgia
He ain't going to
or
Tennessee. He'll go
Alabama?
probably like
I will
Well-
say there's too much pressure for him to go to Tennessee or go to Ole Miss.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
he would do absolutely fantastic if he went to like Alabama or something.
The only problem with Alabama is Alabama hasn't had a long-term quarterback be successful in the NFL.
exactly.
Not since Joe Namath or Ken
Alabama
State.
quarterbacks are cursed. Well, then again, Jalen Hurts probably the best one, and Jalen Hurts' whole team is hurt.
Yeah,
No pun intended.
Jalen Hurts needs to be that coach.
Yeah, that should be happening after the bye week. That should have happened this last week, but I don't know what the hell Eagles are doing, not doing
That
that
should happen
now.
after the wild card game.
That too. Actually, that's
Um,
a great transition point to take us on over.
Yep.
Well, yeah, for Arch, if he wanted to go anywhere, that's a good one.
Hey, let's save that
Whoever
for
gives
later.
him the most money, he will just go wherever he gets the most money.
Yeah, which I don't blame him. I would too.
But
I
I
don't
think
blame
he'll
him.
stay in Texas, if anything.
He is. His family's not going to let him leave. They're going to make him stick that out.
Or they're going to make him a balls.
They didn't even because
Peyton could come to him and be like, "I
recruited
want you to
until,
become a balls. I want you to go to
They
my."
didn't even want
my
him
school."
to get recruited until he was like a junior.
Mm-hmm.
Like they played it so smooth with him, and they did it right.
All right. Now start the fun part. What you guys want to start with?
The Buccaneers
yeah, hour
are
17.
taking the NFC South. I just said that.
Buccaneers are about to kill another bird this weekend. Or
Yeah, they're
tomorrow
gonna kill
night,
the
I should say.
bird. If they kill the bird, they're gonna kill the Saint the next week. They NFC South. They just run it right now. They're running it. I
know
can
what's
see.
bad?
I can see
Let's
them.
fix it up. Talk about the Bucks Falcons game. I was looking at the fantasy thing, right? So I was telling JPs about it. Like, I scored so many more points than everybody else. And then I see the schedule this week, and I'm like, oh, shit. I got to play a guy who has got both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
Yeah.
And the Falcons secondary sucks. So I'm going to be like, oh, shit. I'm going to be down 40-0 before Thursday night even is over.
Actually, wait, no, that guy you just mentioned, I actually played him last week or this past week, and somehow I won. So,
well, my luck sucks right now, so who cares? Moving on, the Falcons are screwed. Bucks are going to run them right down the throats. Falcons defense sucks, but somehow the Saints suck even more and beat themselves. Now, that should have been a fireworks.
So they go with the Bucks tonight? Or tomorrow night?
Yeah, Falcons Bucks is Thursday night, and Chiefs Saints is Monday night.
No, I said is Ace going with the Bucks though Thursday night.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah, someone was mentioning that the Bucks can like navigate this stretch right here before November 17th. It's a likelihood they will definitely have a high seed.
I will say this. The Saints, there's a very legitimate possibility that the Saints end up 2-5 by week 8. Going into week 8, they'll be 2-5.
Oh.
Now you got me clicking over real quick. Hold on.
No, Dalton, the dude I'm talking about, he won last week.
Oh.
You probably beat them the
There
week
you
the
go.
Bucks played Washington and scored nothing.
Yes, it was that week, I think. Yeah.
There you go, Ace.
Yeah, let's get some Maine lobster meat. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying this right now. There is a legitimate possibility the Saints end up 2-5 going into October 27th into LA.
So,
And there's also a possibility they go in 4-3, but I'd seriously doubt it's more 2-5 than 4-3.
I
so
think
you're
they
already
could
ruling. You're already ruling 2 losses, October 7th and October 13th.
What I've seen so far from them the last 2 weeks says, yeah, they're gonna lose the next 2.
And then how about when the Orange Crush comes to town on Thursday night?
that could be a good close game.
That
Field goal.
hits
I'll
the
say
water
this.
down like
Eric
that.
McCoy got hurt. That offensive line ain't know their head from the ass on the right side of the football. And that boy Zach Allen, I told you he was nice last week. What I say, he real nice. He is gonna dominate. That Broncos defense legit. I don't know how they be doing it, but they be getting to that quarterback easy.
Yeah, no, they are. Like I said, they surprised me. Now,
And
October
Surtain a
27th,
dog too. Surtain got pissed off. He got embarrassed by George Pickens.
dude,
Week 2,
that is the
and
best corner
Surtain
in
clamped
the
him out.
game.
And
He's
Surtain
the
take that
best
personal. And he clamped on Mike Evans. We saw that last
Yes.
week. And
Surtain is
then
the best corner in the game, hands down.
and we see it again. The Jets, the weather was terrible. We all know that. But now, Jets really weren't doing nothing. That defensive line and secondary had them on clams. Brees Hall had 3 fantasy points
Mm.
and less than 10 rushing yards or something like that. It was ugly for the Jets. So, Kansas City now. I mean, okay, you want to keep talking about the Saints right now or whatever? Okay,
I mean,
Saints.
I was.
They
gonna
had
say-
zero business losing to Atlanta. Rashid Shaheed muffed that punt inside the 5. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Oh, this one.
They
Yeah.
beat themselves. They find a way to beat themselves. And like I said, remember how I talked about USF, how that separates the good teams, the mid teams, and the great teams?
Yes.
They find a way to win close games to be good and great. Saints somehow find a way to lose all the close games.
Fair. Yeah.
Can you pull up the 2023 schedule?
But it's
The
like
Saints?
look at
The
how they
Saints?
like.
Yeah, just pull it up. I want to show you something.
Okay. Last year they
All
went
right,
9.
look at their wins for the end of the season. None of those games are close,
Yeah.
and they're all bad teams. Look at the games they lost. Look at the scores. All 1-score games that they lose. Besides the Falcons one where they lost by 2 scores. And Dennis Allen has a losing record against both the Falcons and the Bucks.
So
All
they
time.
beat the Bucks right here. We were
Yeah,
at
but that was a
game.
2-score game. We was at that game, remember? They were dominating the Bucks. They don't win close games.
Well, we got one right here against the Bears.
You know who the quarterback was for Chicago in that game?
Justin Fields.
No, Tyler Badgett. Justin Fields had the wrist injury.
Oh. Wait,
Five
wasn't
points,
this Saints?
All right, moving on.
Wasn't that Saints game down there on the 7th right there? Wasn't that like the infamous like Jameis like decided not to take a knee and go run it in himself?
No, he gave it to Jamal Williams to run in.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Like, they
he said
asked him
F
about it
Dennis
and
Allen. He
stuff.
wanted did it himself. He called Jamal Williams' number to get him a touchdown.
I remember that. That was so funny. Wild times, man. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just talk about it. What's the best destination for Devontae Adams?
It is Pittsburgh or Baltimore. It really shouldn't be close, but somehow he'll end up on the Jets of the Saints because he's an idiot. If Devontae wanted to win a Super Bowl, he needs to go Baltimore or Pittsburgh, not New York or New Orleans.
You know what's funny? Someone said bring him to New Orleans, and then someone else was like, with what money? Because the Saints have no money.
It's not even the money thing. The Saints are 2-2. Getting a wide receiver is not fixing their issues.
This is fair.
Eric,
Let's go there.
hold on. You keep talking while I pull it up.
Why?
Now, I mean, also too, somebody mentioned the
Why not
fact
the
too.
Bucks? I mean, unless the Bucks already have.
No,
counting-
Bucks don't need another wide receiver. They don't
Now-
need another one. They won't do
They-
that.
Your boy Stank Bastard said he was like, imagine if the Bucks got Devontae Adams. I was like, if he comes to Tampa, he's only like the Bucks are all in on the Super Bowl. They are all in on the
If
Super
they did that, yeah.
It's like putting like all your chips in. Yeah, like they're
Yeah.
all in to try to
Bowl. It's
win.
like, and they would only have to do that if like Jalen McMillan went to IR, and if Trey Palmer also went to IR too. But it's like they're not going to IR. They'll be back in a couple weeks, and like they should be fine. But I don't see it right now. But I mean, if you ask me honestly, I think he should go to like
share my screen.
he should really go to like Baltimore or Pittsburgh. I agree.
Actually, hold on. One second. Y'all keep talking while I pull this up. I'm gonna pull
Or-
up the different quarterback stuff. Give me a second.
So, I'm just thinking out loud because I'm thinking about the only 2 undefeated teams. I don't think Chiefs, obviously, but
Minnesota won't do that.
Minnesota.
Minnesota won't do it. They have Addison and Jefferson.
Yeah, they do, and those guys are a lot younger and will be around a lot longer.
point.
But I mean, yeah, I'm all in with the Baltimore thing. Baltimore needs a big play wide receiver.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers had
see-
225 passing yards against
could
the
see
Broncos.
Ravens. I could see Ravens more than more than
Steelers,
Okay, that wouldn't
Yeah.
be my point.
Steelers wouldn't be bad either. I think
The Steelers
I mean,
wouldn't be bad because I feel like Justin. I mean, I don't know what the wide receiver situation looks like now currently for Justin Fields.
Just
but-
George Pickens and nobody.
Okay, well then
Yeah,
I think
your
it
boy
would be
Roman
like a godsend for Justin Fields in Pittsburgh to be like, oh my god, look who
Oh
we
no,
have
not
now.
Roman Doomsday. Roman Williams. He hasn't
But
played.
he hasn't even played a game yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is just George Pickens.
All right. Here we go. So Derek Carr's throwing sheet, right? Look at
Okay.
this nice one right here. It's not terrible, but you notice a trend here. Look where all the passes are.
It's always to the left. It's always to the left. Yeah, it's
Well, it's not even to the left. It's all within 10 yards.
Yeah.
No, I know that's mostly because of the shell concepts of the cover 2 issues.
Can you kind of
Outside
zoom
the
in on this a
occasional
little bit?
bombs to Shaheed early on.
Can you zoom in on this a little bit?
Which one?
Like just all of them. Just zoom in. Just zoom. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, I always notice when it comes to quarterbacks, I'm like, they really like throwing to the left more, or this quarterback really likes throwing to the right more.
Wow.
We could grow up the week 1 game was an anomaly because the Panthers defense sucks.
Yes.
So
But yeah,
I'm gonna
he's
do
been
this
going
right
left a lot.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
trying
for
to think.
this is only my only thing with this is right.
I think Derek
If you
is.
bring Devontae to New Orleans, I don't think Derek Carr is able to support him, Olave, and Shaheed
I agree.
because it's 3 mouths to feed, and Devontae ain't gonna be happy catching a bunch of curl routes.
I'm with you.
And notice the lack thereof of throws in between the hash marks.
Mm-hmm.
He is not throwing in the middle of the field much. 4 passes out of 36 in the middle of the field is terrible.
4, 5, 6, like even on the other ones.
And there's like middle concepts run to this thing. Now Baltimore's kind of interesting because
Whoa,
they just ran the ball straight down Buffalo's throat. And their only legitimate wide receiver is Zay Flowers, right?
Yeah.
So Lamar could use him. They have no intermediate passing threat right now. His best game was probably the week 2 one that they lost. If you want to say that, I think his best game was probably the Chiefs game, and he wasn't able to do much.
Yeah.
Devontae in Baltimore, if they were willing to throw it more with Lamar, this is all open for him. He would get this entire left side of the field target share. Where in New Orleans, you already seen it's already taken, right? if Devontae want targets, he could go Baltimore. And he can eat as much as he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go down the list to who's our other contenders?
Steelers.
Steelers, right? Now, I haven't made the tweet on this yet, but look at that development, right?
Well,
They kept everything outside the middle of the field because they had Justin Simmons and what's that boy's name? The one from who left Cincinnati and he went to
Oh,
Atlanta.
Jesse Bates.
Jesse Bates, yeah. Week 1, they did not throw it in the middle of the field. Week 2, you're seeing a little more.
couple.
Week 4, they spread that thing out. Week 5, look at that. Devontae can eat anywhere he wants on this field because the whole route tree is open. He can have all this too if he wanted to. Because Pickens generally likes to play this side, but they have to move him around so much because they have nobody else to throw to. That's why I say if Devontae want to eat Baltimore or Pittsburgh makes the most sense. Because look, you got all this right here. You can have all this right here. Because this one here were the 2 dots to Pickens.
Okay. Interesting. Huh.
While you're on that tab, I'm just curious. Just pull up Baker's. I'm curious. Bucks. Pretty cool. Never seen that before. Damn.
Yeah, he's spreading it. Now week 2, I don't know what that was just they were outmatched, but like when he's on, you can see he's spreading it. And they don't attack the seam a whole lot. Wait, Ace, we can't hear you.
Keep muted.
Hold on. All right, talk now.
Nope. I don't hear anything.
You don't hear him either?
No.
That's weird. All I heard was a lightning bolt, and then he went mute.
Oh, I thought the lightning came from you.
It did.
Thunder. Or like thunder.
That thunder came from my place.
Okay.
Well, while he gets that straightened out,
Yeah.
We'll bring this one up. Who should the Jaguars target as their next head coach? I've heard
So speculations.
I've heard not Robert Hall. I've heard someone say Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. Interesting.
And I've also heard Lincoln Riley. Bring him over from USC.
Oh. Interesting.
So it makes you wonder. Bill Belichick, because of the fact that I think that organization needs a little bit of discipline and someone that knows how to really run things in the front office.
Oh yeah.
Because let's be real, Jacksonville's a mess.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Restart the mic. Okay, cool.
But I also say Lincoln Riley because Lincoln Riley's an offensive guru, and Jacksonville needs to get that offense in gear.
Who should the Jaguars target as their next head coach? Well, I'll tell you what. If the Eagles fire their head coach, I think Belichick's going to Philadelphia.
Someone else said that too. I heard on the radio.
Now, I will say, though, I think the Jaguars, what they might do is they might tank the season, honestly. Go get Travis Hunter. Now, Prime was talking about Travis Hunter in Jacksonville. Don't if y'all watch that Club Shay Shay thing, that was a thing. Now, back to my main point. I think what Jaguars might do, you got Mike McCoy, the former Phillip Rivers head coach. I think you bring him, you make him the intern. Press Taylor gone. Doug Peterson gone. Just let Mike McCoy run it. Just try to run out the year, tank, get a high draft picks, rebuild the rest of the roster. Mm-hmm. Come back next year, you get Ben Johnson from Detroit out of there. You get him primed down to the thing. and you run it with that.
It could work. No, it could work. God, Jacksonville.
Because it's hard to hire a coach off the street in the middle of the season.
Yes, I would agree. I agree. It's just golly, Jacksonville. Things just gone from bad to worse. Wait, we have. Oh no, my bad. I thought we had 2 London games. Jacksonville's got back-to-back London games. Ooh, that's also something the next head coach is gonna have to do too. Say something as far as Jacksonville goes to get them to stop playing back-to-back weeks of London games and keep them back over here. Because that's, to me, if I'm a fan of Jacksonville following this team, like, yeah, you're like in the grand scheme of things, to be funny, you're like, yeah, take them out of here. They don't need to be here for a little while. But it's like, you pay money for your season tickets. You pay a pretty penny, whether the team's good or not.
Yeah.
And you hate when they sacrifice a home game.
And I think every team should be able to. I think every team in the organization should be able to sacrifice a home game and do that London trip or do the German trip. Or
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I feel like every organization, and maybe it's just the NFL in the grand scheme of things. I think instead of sending the same teams, or if it's always Jacksonville, sending Jacksonville over, it's like no, every team should be able to travel to London, Germany, whatever it might be.
It's just like with them, it's I get it like
it's like the NHL Classic. It's like with the NHL Classic, they always want to have some Canadian team against, an American team. It's like, why not throw two American teams in there? It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. See, so yeah, whoever the next head coach is or whoever comes in there is like the next GM is gonna have to. You got to do something about that because again, it's not fair to your season ticket holders. They're sacrificing a home game every single year. Those season tickets they cost, and you're getting a new stadium as well too, which goes to show Jacksonville is staying in. The Jaguars are staying in Jacksonville. Yeah. Like something's got to give, but yeah, I think the NFL needs to have it set to where like they have 2 new teams every week in London. Now, give or take, the players hate playing in London too because it's like
the field sucks. Cheering. The field sucks too.
It does. That Germany, Mexico City, Brazil. They don't never need to go back to Brazil. Like a lot of these players truthfully don't like the international games. Fans don't know what they're cheering about. It's a long way to get back, and it's a long way to get there. Like, no. Yeah. You hate it. You'd rather just be on Hard Knocks and have your privacy invaded nonstop. Oh, yeah. Jacksonville needs to find something. They need a lot of help. Same thing with the Dolphins. If I'm Miami,
They need to be calling for Zach Wilson. I keep saying it. I don't know what's taking them so long.
They should. And if I'm Miami and I end up with a top 10 draft pick, I'm going after Jalen Milroe or Cameron Ward.
They said Tua coming back week 8. I don't know how accurate that is, though.
Regardless of if Tua comes back or not, I'm off that ship now. I'm off because what you're gonna trot him out.
I will say I will say this though, right? We kind of make fun of Tua and all this, but Miami's offense without him has been terrible.
This is true, but you get someone in there and because what are we gonna do? He'll probably finish out the season, rally the troops and stuff, and then 2025 comes, he gets another concussion, and then there goes the season again. There goes the division. Get someone in there that's more consistent, that you can rely on, someone that can take a hit.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 options. I hate to sound rude and sound careless like this, but Jalen Milroe has proven he has. You imagine what Jalen Milroe would do with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in this whole 4x1?
Underthrow him?
Huh?
Underthrow him?
See, stop.
I'm kidding. Now I will say this: so
if
Kansas City wanted to piss the entire NFL off, I would send a first-round pick for Tyreek Hill.
It's not bad. He actually he
'Cause, I mean,
low-key acted like he
if
wanted
you're
to get better.
Miami, right? If you're honestly Miami, you're 1-3.
Right now, Miami is currently
They're 1-3. You're 1-3. You have 2 more games before your quarterback might come back. That's hypothetical might. Big if. Probably won't come back this year. You're going to
1-3.
lose every game with the quarterbacks you have on your roster right now. If somebody offers you a first round pick for a 32-year-old wide receiver, yeah, it's kind of hard to say no.
Yeah, and he low-key want to get up out of there.
He was mad last night or Monday night.
I do not blame him. I do not
And
blame
especially after that whole Miami police incident, I don't blame him if he want to get up out of there too.
him. Exactly. I just like if I was.
Now, I'm just saying,
Terry,
if Kansas City offers a second and like a 5th round pick, we didn't even talk about this really today so far, but Kansas City's 2nd and 5th round pick, 1st round pick, or something like that. I don't know what. They need wide receiver help right now. You cannot go into the regular season finishing it out with Juju Smith-Schuster as your ex wide receiver. That just won't cut it. Not Juju Smith-Schuster in 2024. Justin Watson ain't happening. So call Miami. It's not a divisional rival. Send them right back to Kansas City. He will love it. Mahomes will love it. The rest of the NFL won't love it. But it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then you get a 1st round pick. This wide receiver class is stacked. You can get somebody back end of the 1st round. And you put them with the quarterback. Or you take an offensive tackle from Texas, Banks, who has not even a lot of pressure this year. You put him there, keep Tua for 1 more year, and you sign whoever the best backup is in the NFL, whether it's Jameis or whoever.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they haven't called for James' services yet.
That's because Cleveland's very close to having a mutiny on their hands. Because you didn't see that on the sideline yet Sunday. Deshaun was yelling at the offensive lineman on the field, and then Jameis was yelling at them on the sideline.
So let's be fair. Let's clear it up. Was Jameis yelling at them, like trying to get them to get their head out of there, you know what? Or was Jameis yelling at them as like an inspirational Sunday school teacher? So is that option A? Okay, all right, okay. We might actually have a
He looked
problem.
mad, so I assume it's not the Sunday preacher school one.
Okay, because I was gonna say because he was doing the Sunday preacher school one to Alvin Kamara, and Kamara was just like, okay, you're right, you're right. Like, it was. I'm just like
Now that one I think was more of those two were complaining about the head coach situation more than anything. Now the fact you have Kamara playing with broken ribs right now and you won't pay the man, that says a lot. The man putting his body and soul out there for you without a contract, and you still won't pay him. Now, if I'm somebody, I don't know, might be calling. They should be calling for them if the Saints go 2-5. Paulson Adebo for a 3rd round pick, somebody will take it. 2nd round pick. Marshawn for a 2nd or a 3rd, somebody would take it. Hell, Cam Jordan needs to get traded. The man's not even playing 20 snaps, eating up half the cap. Or 15% of the cap.
You were the first Saint fan I've seen that has said that about Cam Jordan.
Hey, let the man go play somewhere. You ain't playing him. You won't move him inside. Get him some kind of snaps. He deserves better than that. It's not like the defense is getting sacks right now.
Last one for Eden before we wrap it up.
Minnesota.
How long can the Vikings drag this out?
Detroit's in Minnesota. Shit.
They gotta go out to Inglewood.
I ain't gonna lie, but I might say they go all the way. Scroll down.
Oh, here we go.
They'll lose one of the last 2 games. I can see them winning every other game.
Last 3 games, I'm thinking are gonna maybe. Yeah,
they're gonna lose. I think they might lose one of the last 2. I think they beat the Seahawks.
I think they lose.
The Seahawks can beat them.
Seahawks can beat them, but Seahawks just make the defense has to lock in. They were gassed, run out. I don't know
Green
what the
Bay,
hell
though,
the defense plan was.
I could see them losing to Green Bay because I know Minnesota, Green Bay. That's
I think Jordan
the
Love had a
game.
lot of rusts. He had a knock-off and he woke up in the second half. But
Yeah.
I think I agree with Dalton. One of the last 3 games, I think they are the ones they would lose. Otherwise, I think they can win all the other games.
Yeah, the crazy thing about it is Minnesota is a team where we've seen this before. They get off to a hot start. They can run the table, but they will, when push comes to shove, Minnesota is another snake bit franchise where they will do something dumb, whether it be at the end of the season or in the playoffs. They will do something dumb and cost themselves.
We all agree Minnesota's winning against the Jets, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
That Sam Darnold revenge game in London would hit like crack.
And going back to either last year or the year before, 2023, 2022, I don't know what year it was, that close game between the Vikings and the Colts.
Oh, that was 22. That one when the Colts blew that 26-point lead with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
That
I
was
remember
probably
that.
worse than that was worse than 28-3 in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was hilarious how they blew that.
That just made me think of that because they play the third week after the bye.
Wait, was that 2022?
That was
I think it was
2022.
2022.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah. So they're just playing the AFC South this year.
SMH. But yeah, so I think we all agree that the Vikings are winning this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's something to worry about too. Is the bye week, so they get their legs back before they play Detroit. So the chance of a letdown is not likely, but it could happen.
If they have to lose, if they beat Detroit, they won't lose again until December.
Fair statement.
All right, let's run through these games.
Yeah, let's go run through them. Let's do it. All right, so since we already did the London game and we did the Thursday night game, let's go ahead and slide on over to Sunday. So we got Ravens and Bengals in Cincinnati.
Ravens.
I want to say Cincinnati.
You want to say Cincinnati?
I want to say Cincinnati, man. Jamar Chase owns that team.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Give me Cincinnati. You know what? Give me Cincinnati.
He's doing
Ravens riding high. Ravens
March
riding high. They oversleep them, overestimate them, and get.
All right, we got Colts and we got Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Colts.
If the Jags don't win this game, boy,
they won't. Don't worry, they won't.
Colts.
Jonathan Taylor's out of this game, so I'm gonna take Jags. I think Jonathan Taylor's out.
Okay, Jacksonville gets their first win.
I'm trying to be nice to Jacksonville, but let me make sure first. Let me make sure Jonathan Taylor's probably not playing this week. I saw Rappaport today. One of him or Richardson is going to miss time. I don't know which one it is. Give me 2 seconds to check that. Keep going to the next game, and I'll tell you.
Dolphins and Patriots in New England. I'm going Patriots.
Me too.
Can I say a tie? I'm just kidding.
Hey,
Patriots. I feel like because like in both those teams, like I can see a tie happening. Just for
I was like, they already squared off one time. That's actually no, that was the Bills. My bad. I was like, they already squared off once, but no, yeah, that was definitely the Bills on Thursday night when Tua got the concussion. But Ace, are you going with the Patriots as well?
Yeah.
Right there with you. Next one is we got Browns and we got Commanders.
Browns and the
Commanders.
Commanders.
Yep, same.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's probably going to be out. Give me the Jaguars.
It's crazy to believe the Commanders slowly looking like a playoff team.
Jaden Daniels. You know what's funny about this whole thing, right? You can go back, I don't know how many years. Normally, the number 2 overall pick has been snake bit with quarterbacks, right? You got Ryan Leaf, Mitch Trubisky, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota. You've had like Robert Griffin. Generally, huh?
I think Ryan Leaf was first.
No, Peyton Manning went first.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. My bad. I'm tripping.
Now, a couple of those guys got hurt and they didn't pan out. But the last 2 years, the guys who've gone number 2 have surprisingly worked out with Stroud and Daniels. I don't know how it is. Nah, I will say this still about Washington. This is not uncommon with Cliff Kingsbury. He will start September, October really hot. Then November, December comes, the weather gets cold, and he falls apart. So it's interesting to see how they hold up the whole year, if it's sustainable, but I think it is. With how Daniel's accuracy has been, it's better than Kyler ever was. So,
all right, Mr. Sasser.
I would say if Washington makes a move for getting a wide receiver 2, I don't know, not like a Devontae type guy, but like a lower level wide receiver 2, if they get him in the building to help Terry McLaurin, that will help that franchise a lot.
Bingo. Mr. Sasser.
I said it. Commanders.
Oh, my bad.
Take them commies.
Or Jesus. Or as I like to still call them, the Redskins. As they should be.
Can't say that nowadays.
I know. I keep hearing articles about people wanting to say they want to bring that name back.
I kind of want them to bring it back too.
As like a cultural thing, you know.
They should. I mean, you have the Blackhawks and the Chiefs. I mean, why not? And you have the Florida State Seminoles.
There's a historical.
Yeah.
See, the thing is the Blackhawks have a historical reference.
I guess because the name Redskins is kind of derogatory. That's why they say it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Derogatory.
I mean, if you want to keep it a Native American theme, then.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks have a historical reference behind it. Florida State they have approval from the Seminole Indian tribe.
But I mean, you have they had Native Americans in that Virginia area. I don't remember which ones they were, but they did have them in that DMV area. So it was based off of that.
Let's
see. And
Pocahontas
was from there, for crying out loud. Just name it after Pocahontas.
So what? It's just the Washington Pocahontas?
I mean,
all right, sorry.
Why do I want to go watch that movie now? I want to go watch that movie now.
You're welcome.
Because of you two.
Oh no.
Because of you two, I want to go watch it now.
Oh no.
We're very unserious people. Keep going.
Yeah. Never take me seriously.
All right. Let's see. Bills and Texans in Houston.
Ooh.
I think Dell should be back. I don't know if Joe Mixon playing in that game yet.
Texans, Bills.
I want to say Houston. Von Miller's gonna be out, so I'm taking Houston.
Yeah.
Von Miller got suspended.
Yeah. Sticking time.
And generally, when Buffalo needed a sack, it's Von Miller who gets it for them. So I'm gonna say Houston.
Yeah.
Also, Stephon Diggs' revenge game.
Another reason.
Oh.
Yeah, the Texans have a good secondary.
Yeah. Texans.
Yeah.
Are we gonna jinx this thing?
Yeah, no, right.
Who is
Bears.
it?
Yeah, the Panthers and the Bears this weekend.
Panthers, Bears.
Fuck it. Give me the Panthers.
Oh, snap.
Give me the Bears.
Yeah, you know what? I'm praying on Caleb Williams' downfall and the Chicago Bears as a franchise downfall for what they did to Justin Fields. So you know what? Give me the Panthers. We're praying on that downfall.
Actually, you know what?
Petty.
I forgot.
Bert,
Andy
no. We're not
forgot.
jinxing it. I'm being different here.
I forgot Andy Dalton's on the Panthers. Yeah, no. Give me the Panthers.
So now he wants the Panthers.
Yeah, because his name's Dalton, like me.
Maybe you should just be Andy Dalton for Halloween.
Yeah, just put on a wig with a ginger.
I'll dye
red
my
wig.
I'll dye my hair red. How do you think I would
Yeah,
look,
you
guys?
dye your hair
Leave a
red and
comment
wear-
down below. How would I look if I dyed my hair that became a ginger?
Oh my gosh.
And like something will dye his hair, and he'll post a picture of it.
Don't
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
probably
about
post
both.
it.
All right, we got Raiders and we got the Broncos. I think we're all
Broncos.
Yeah, the Orange Crush is gonna go off this weekend,
Broncos.
making me a believer.
The perky boy.
Bronco.
I want to say that because he was on Percocets.
So wait, Mr. Sasser, we're going with the Broncos.
Yes.
Speaking of perks, you remember that guy Perk Angle? Let me stop. I think,
Moving on.
Uh,
Moving on.
we got this the Cardinals and the 49ers.
I want to say the Cardinals, but they keep letting me down, so it's going to be the 49ers. Cardinals are going to win now that I say the 49ers. They just drive me up a wall.
You know, your boy Kyler's going to go off now, man.
49ers from the NFC. That's what I said.
Hmm?
The 49ers run the NFC. At the top of the NFC.
They won't.
They won't,
They're
but
not winning.
they'll get to the playoffs.
They'll get to the
they'll get to the
playoffs,
playoffs.
but
All right, let's see. So now we got 3 games for the remainder of the day. We got the Packers and the Rams.
Packers.
And then we've also got the Giants and the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks.
Gotcha. Same. I'm rolling with the Seahawks for that one too.
What's Sunday Night Football? Oh, yeah. I know who it is.
Sunday
wait
Night
for him to say
Football
it.
is those Dallas Cowboys and
Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. You
Steelers
said
winning.
Steelers? Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm going Steelers too.
Big black and yellow.
What did you just say? Big, black, and yellow? Did you just say that?
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Black and yellow. I'm going with the black and yellow.
Oh god.
On serious podcast. Don't mind us, guys. We're just vibing here.
Yeah.
We are. We most certainly are.
And we all know who's winning Monday Night Football. We didn't even have to ask.
Let me guess. Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Wait, did Chiefs play? It doesn't matter. It's the Chiefs. They're gonna win. Oh wait, no,
Wait,
sorry.
they're still gonna win.
The refs. It's the refs and the Chiefs.
Spagnola's gonna have Derek Carr seeing ghosts. It's gonna be hilarious.
That's
I'm not even like hating.
right?
I'm just being realistic. Spags is gonna blitz the absolute crap out of him. And when Derek Carr got blitzed against the Falcons, he was terrible.
Is that in New Orleans?
Kansas City.
Oh dear.
Outdoors. Even worse.
God. Oh dear.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Well,
And the only game Derek Carr has ever won against the Chiefs is the one when he had those 3 penalty calls at the end of the game to Crabtree. Remember, they had to keep replaying the last play of the game. It was like 2015 or something like that. 2016.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
all right.
All right.
folks, that'll do it for us this evening. We've got it.
Wait,
Neg-
I just want to say
wait.
one, 2 things. Talk about
ahead.
freaking. I know it's
Oh, yeah. We forgot the hockey thing.
a little hockey, but fortunately,
Oh, yeah.
Lightning
Anyways.
lost. Lightning lost 2-1.
That's preseason.
over
Preseason. Next week is the fun stuff. Anyways, score prediction: FAMU versus Alabama A&M. Channel my inner thoughts right now. Give me FAMU 38, Alabama 24.
Okay. FAMU 38, Alabama State 24. Mr. Sasser,
Wait, is it Alabama State or Alabama A&M? I don't know
It's
which one we're
Alabama
going.
State.
Okay. Don't know. I always mix them up.
40-20.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know what the spread is. Hell,
While you're
I'm
putting
just
in
saying
that
stuff.
prediction, I'm going to go ahead and spat this off right now. So the MLB, I mean, I know it's like the preseason and preliminary games before the playoffs, but it has shocked me that the Astros got knocked out by the Detroit Tigers.
Apparently they weren't the lower seed, but I mean, hey, every team has its fall from grace.
Detroit Tigers beat the Astros, and now it's almost looking like the Braves might get knocked out by the Padres.
I mean, I like both teams. I don't mind. I really don't
you have the
watch
game
baseball.
on in the background. You don't know that.
Yeah, it's on ESPN2. The other game's on ESPN2. This is the Mets. And
that's the Mets and
right
Brewers.
now.
Yeah.
And the Mets, they are honestly one inning away.
Yeah, they are 1 inning away from winning as well.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about baseball, really. The Rays already pissed me off this year when they traded half the team, so.
Yeah.
That part. But yeah, folks, so we got FAMU Alabama State pregame preview Saturday at 2 p.m. Make sure you tune in for that. We're going to talk everything about the game, keys to victory, players to watch, score prediction, everything like that. Also, don't forget, Ace's score prediction. FAMU's going FAMU 38, Alabama State 24. Mr. Sasser's prediction is right there. FAMU 40, Alabama State 20. And you'll hear mine Saturday. So definitely tune into that as well. So in closing, anybody got anything before we head out?
Stay safe.
Yeah,
stay dry.
SBS said my fantasy team has scored 100 points more than almost everybody else, and I'm 1-3.
You can only go
because
up.
I've allowed 100 points more than everybody else.
You can only go up from here. That's all I can give you. I hope everybody enjoyed this this history lesson and amongst other things here. Before we go, Mr. Sasser, you got anything else?
I forgot. We already had that whole thing.
Stay
we need to talk about this.
Stay
What
dry.
the hell were Minnesota Timberwolves
and-
thinking trading Cat? We can talk about that.
Oh yeah,
For Julius Randle. I don't have no issues trading Cat. My issue is keeping Julius Randle on that team. The spacing between Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert is a war crime in and of itself. I don't know who the hell thought that's a good idea, but that is literally the worst idea I've ever seen for spacing. Anthony Edwards to Orlando next year. Book it. Thank you very much, guys. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe. Hope we see you Saturday with JPs, and you'll see me next week. Thank you. Adios. Running out.
I thought Mr. Sasser had something to say in closing,
Yeah.
but I mean,
if you got something done, I had that timed up.
I was just saying, stay safe, stay dry, and to all the people that are affected in North Carolina by the hurricane and in Florida,
That too.
hope you all are doing well. Prayers. Send in prayers.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Better outro than me.
Wait.